Good afternoon. I hope you are having a great Friday. We are so close to the weekend. The time now is 12:30. I'm Julie Broughton. This is News 6 Extra. We're so happy you're spending some time with us this afternoon to get an update on your news and weather stories. And by the way, it is another weather alert day. If you've been following with us the last several days, we've had severe weather just about every day this week. The biggest threats again today will be some gusty winds, some hail, as well as some heavy rain. I'll have a check of your full forecast for you coming up in just a moment. Of course, it's a very important forecast because it is the weekend and it is Mother's Day weekend, so I know a lot of you probably have outdoor plans, so stick around and we will break that down for you in great detail coming up in just a few minutes. But first, school districts are issuing a warning to parents about a new social media challenge that can be dangerous. That challenge is telling kids to stick metal objects into their school-issued laptops. As News 6's Angie Casada tells us, this can be dangerous because it can cause batteries to smoke or even catch on fire.
This new TikTok challenge is sparking concerns at schools like this one all across the nation, and it's involving district-issued Chromebooks. Now, some students are intentionally damaging school property, and now school officials are warning parents. It's the latest viral challenge. Videos on TikTok showing students burning, breaking, and otherwise destroying their district-issued Chromebooks, all in the name of online fame.
Well, they're for educational uses only. They're not no toys.
One of the most dangerous challenges encourages students to insert metal items into the USB ports of their school-issued computers. Then it creates sparks, smoke, and even possibly spark a fire.
No, do not do that, please.
We spoke with our News 6 IT analyst, Marquise Dickens.
Once they stack the battery, it's basically going to cause it to either flame up or cause it to blow up.
In a message sent to parents, Osceola's district is making it clear this kind of damage won't just disappear. In their message this week, they say, parents, we need to bring your attention to a concerning new TikTok challenge. If your child is found to have participated in this challenge, you will be held financially responsible for any damages incurred. And it's not just the money. Students caught damaging school property could face severe disciplinary actions, including suspension, expulsion, and even criminal charges. Something school leaders in Orange County are also warning parents about, sending this message saying these actions are extremely dangerous and could potentially cause injuries to students or staff. School officials are urging parents to speak with their children about the risks of following these dangerous social media challenges before it's too late. It's not worth the hype. Reporting in Osceola County, Angie Casada, News 6.
I like the way our IT guy Marquise summed that up. Do not do this, please. So that is some good advice. Pope Leo XIV began his first full day as pontiff, leading Mass at the Vatican. The Chicago-born religious leader is a historic pick for the Catholic Church. CBS News' Tina Kraus tells us how he's taking reins of the church.
As he celebrated Mass for the first time since becoming pontiff, Chicago-born Pope Leo XIV spoke briefly in English to the cardinals who elected him.
Through the ministry of Peter, you have called me to carry that cross and to be blessed with that mission. And I know I can rely on each and every one of you to walk with me.
The Mass was held in the Sistine Chapel, the same sacred space where just a day before he spent his last moments as Cardinal Robert Prevost before cardinals handed him the helm as the first ever pope from the United States.
If only the rest of us in our lives and in the world could have that mad dash to unity that we seem to have in the conclave.
His election surprised even his own brother.
It was like, oh my God, it's Rob. It's never going to be the same. What are we going to do? Oh, yes, it's Rob. Yeah.
The mood has shifted here in St. Peter's Square nearly 3 weeks after Pope Francis passed. People tell me their hearts are full as a new era dawns.
I hope this new Pope is also can be the same or better.
You said your heart feels better?
Yes, it feels complete again.
Leo will be formally installed as Pope at a Mass on May 18th and will preside over his first general audience a few days later. Tina Kraus, CBS News, the Vatican.
Pope Leo was born Robert Prevost, and he has ties to Florida. Our sister station in Miami went to talk to his brother.
All I can tell you is I think from the bottom of my heart, he's going to be one of the best popes the church has had. in his history, just because of the way he is. He's apolitical. He's, again, open-minded. He's honest. He's friendly. He has a great sense of humor. He likes to smile a lot. I don't know if you saw him when he was out waving his big smile. He's in his element. It may be deep water for him right now. I'm sure there's a lot. He's like, oh, what did I get into? But I think he'll do fine. I think he'll be awesome.
And before we head to break, we do want to remind you that we are hitting the road next week to Claremont. We will be live in Lake County every single day, highlighting what makes Claremont so special and talking about the challenges that you wrote in and asked us to look into. We always love hitting the road. Again, WKMG hits the road to Claremont starting next week. Our live coverage begins Monday on News 6 at 4, so we hope you will join us for that. We're going to take a short break, and when we get back, we will check in on the forecast. Again, it is a weather alert day. We will break down our chances for severe weather, not just today, but as we head into your Mother's Day weekend. Stay with us. We're back in 2 minutes. Time now is 12:38. I'm Julie Broughton. Welcome back to News 6 Extra. We're going to check out that forecast for you coming up in just a few minutes. We are looking at that potential once again today of some strong thunderstorms right around school pickup time and afternoon drive time. So we will break that down for you in just a moment. But first, we are seeing a rise in autism diagnoses in the U.S., and that can make it difficult for parents to find the appropriate therapy resources for their kids. News 6 anchor Bridget Ellison is here now, and she spoke to a mother, Bridget, who moved to Central Florida after having trouble finding care for her children.
Yes, Sasha Beloli, she actually worked out in Virginia at the time for the military, and then she was relocating back to Central Florida. But at that time, about 6 months ago, you know, you're planning your move. There are so many things to take care of. And her little boy, Enzo, was diagnosed with autism a couple years ago. And at that point, he'd been receiving about 1 or 2 hours of therapy at a time every week. But then she wanted to step up his therapy to help him work on his communication skills. And so as she was planning that move, she called lots of therapy centers to see who had openings for a 4-year-old, and there were wait lists everywhere. She shared her story about how she's advocating for more resources so parents can find what they need for their children.
Yes, he is submitting me.
About 2 years ago, Sasha Biloli noticed her son Enzo was having trouble reaching his milestones. After being diagnosed with autism, he started therapy a few hours per week to help develop stronger communication skills.
So his challenge is communication still. So he still doesn't tell me like, hey, I want juice. Like he uses different forms of communication, but the goal is for him to say it.
6 months ago, Enzo started intensive therapy at Florida Autism Center, which is 30 or more hours per week. And Mom says it has significantly improved his skills.
Yeah, so it's like the little things that matter. So it's like when I ask him questions, he replies yes or no. Like before, he never said anything. He uses like this book that has like pictures in it, so he can communicate with me.
With 39 locations across the state, Florida Autism Centers help meet a growing demand for autism therapy. Teams of board-certified behavior analysts and registered behavior technicians use applied behavior analysis therapy to customize treatment plans for each child.
They work on individualized goals, and those can range from communication skills to social skills, play skills, imitation.
The center also works with caregivers to reinforce what the children are learning there at home, monitor progress, and gradually adjust goals as the child's skills improve.
We want that child to be able to go eventually to a classroom where they can maintain the skills they've learned here, to go into the community, to perform the skills at home with their caregivers. And we want to make meaningful impacts for their lives.
Bye, Enzo. Bye.
Helping Enzo and many other children achieve everyday successes.
He motivates me every day. Whenever he does something new, I'm like, oh, that's good, you know?
It was a very enlightening experience, and I think that's why they wanted to allow us into the center. So we really appreciate Florida Autism Center, operated by Blue Sprig, for allowing us to visit one of the campuses, as well as Sasha and Enzo sharing their story. And, you know, it was very much just like going to any other preschool. The difference is the children have one-on-one attention with their therapists who know what they need help with, and they can focus in on, you know, working on those skills and closing those development gaps that they may need help with. And so, of course, there are different studies that show that this may or may not help long-term goals depending on where the child is on the spectrum. But again, one of those things where more resources, the better. And so many people have to go through the process, Julie, of getting a diagnosis first so that then you can qualify for the insurance and, you know, the different types of funds that are available to help support something like full-time therapy, basically. Because, for instance, Enzo is there, you know, 5 days a week, just like when you send your child to preschool. But, you know, because it is a specialized therapy, you know, you have one-on-one attention with those therapists. And so it does take, you know, quite a bit more staffing and resources to make something like that happen compared to, you know, sort of your, you know, 1:18 ratio you might find, you know, in a regular classroom.
Well, and hearing from Enzo's mom about the difference she's seeing when you're talking about, you know, 30 hours a week versus just a few hours here and there, especially at that age. And we know little kids they're just such sponges. So
Yeah.
I just can't imagine how beneficial that has to be for so many kids to have that level. And I also like that they said they work with the caregivers too, because you have to carry on what you're learning at therapy and at school at home for it to really have those impacts.
Yes, it was really touching, and I could just feel her just joy and relief that he's improving. And so, you know, her hope is that, you know, he'll be able to close those developmental gaps and just go, you know, go right on with school and just have a normal life just like any other kid. And so she encourages parents to work with their doctors and talk about those milestones early on if they're noticing that maybe they're not reaching their milestones. And so I attached some links to some of the things to look for, as well as, you know, some of the information, statistics, studies about autism. If people are curious, they can log on to clickorlando.com and read more about that story. And, you know, it was Autism Acceptance Month in April, so it's a time where they want to, you know, promote more awareness and education around autism, and of course, encourage people to get the resources they need to, you know, grow and develop the skills that they need help with.
Absolutely. So important. And I know people will head to clickorlando.com to check out some of those links you put. Thank you so much, Bridget. Great story.
Thanks.
All right, now, if you've lived in Central Florida for any amount of time, I certainly hope you have visited Gatorland. It is just amazing if you haven't been. It's one of my favorite places. And recently, they have announced they are becoming a nonprofit so they can focus more on education. Stephanie Rodriguez has more about that.
Gatorland Global was started in 2018 to create a world that loves and protects all animals. And now they're going to be ramping up their efforts to save and protect alligators and crocodiles by becoming a nonprofit.
It's been the conservation arm of Gatorland Orlando for a while now. We've been working really hard and trying to take on new tasks and new projects, and so we are officially a 501c3 now.
The now nonprofit Gatorland Global focuses on rescuing nuisance alligators and puts on crocodilian conservation programs all around the world.
Hey!
Savannah Bone, the international ambassador for Gatorland Global, travels to places like Australia, Jamaica, and Cuba, helping with research efforts and teaching people how to coexist with these large reptiles.
They need educational programs for schools, for little kids, for businesses, and things like that.
As a nonprofit, they can now apply for grants, money Bone says they'll use to expand their reach.
For us to have a big conservation entity called Gatorland Global will give us more exposure that way and also allow us to maybe work in some other countries that we're not working in right now.
Their mission statement is simple: protect, conserve, and educate.
Talk to me about the importance of education when it comes to living with these wild animals and being safe around them in their natural habitat.
Be careful, be aware of your surroundings as we are right now, and just, do the best job you can to coexist with all the wildlife.
Again, they're really focused on education and helping people coexist with these animals. We are currently in alligator mating season, which means that the gators are more aggressive as they're out looking for a mate. So please be aware of your surroundings and cautious when you're by bodies of water. Reporting at Gatorland in Orlando, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
And maybe if you're planning to take your mom to Gatorland for Mother's Day, here's what you need to know about the forecast. I mean, I know I would love to spend Mother's Day at Gatorland. It is amazing. Today is a weather alert day. Here is why. We are looking at that threat of severe weather. This is from the Storm Prediction Center out of Norman, Oklahoma. So they have 5 categories, marginal and slight. So our western counties are under a marginal risk of severe weather, and the counties shaded in yellow are under a slight risk. So where you see that yellow, that's where we're expecting that sea breeze collision later today. And those are the same areas where we've seen severe thunderstorms over the last few days. Now, that threat of severe weather is sticking around for us as we head into the weekend. So for tomorrow, all of our counties are under a marginal risk of those strong to severe storms. Radar sweeping out for us here at 12:47, showing nothing to track just yet. That will change for us by around 2, 3 o'clock. We'll start to see those sea breezes popping. Then where we see that collision late this afternoon, early this evening, that's when things will really intensify for us. Right now, sitting at 86 in Orlando, 89 in the Villages, 87 in Melbourne, and the sunshine you've seen out there today and the heat, that adds to the instability in the atmosphere. Here's how it looks for you as we take you through on our modeling. So again, starting to see some clouds building right now, rolling you through into around 2, 3 o'clock. That's when we'll start to see some more intense activity. By 5 o'clock, some of the strongest storms will be moving in on both sea breeze boundaries. But look what happens as we head through around 6, 7, 8 o'clock. We'll see those sea breeze boundaries and those outflow boundaries interacting. Where you see the red, the magenta, that's where we're looking at that potential of heavy rain, even some hail, and some gusty winds around 50 to 60 miles per hour. Also a concern for us today. Much like we've seen the last several days, everything continues pushing toward the East Coast. I think we could even see some showers going into around 11 o'clock tonight before everything winds down for us shortly after midnight. And then tomorrow we will do it all again with that threat of severe weather. So the weekend, your Mother's Day weekend, not a total washout. I know a lot of you maybe like to go to the beach or have brunch outside. It is a weekend to be weather aware, and if you do have outdoor plans, the best bet for both days this weekend is to get those in early. So we go to a high today of 89, 87 tomorrow, 85 on Sunday. Now we'll see our highest chance of rain on Monday as another system moves in. Only a high of 80 on Monday with all the clouds and the rain early in the day. Then we start to clear things out by midday on Tuesday, and then Wednesday and Thursday we begin to dry things out. We will have your forecast in much greater detail for you starting on News 6 at 4 this afternoon. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today on News 6 Extra. We appreciate you stopping by. Have a great day, and I will see you at 4.